Hello, guys. Welcome back. Goddess of the Day wondered why I took so very long to get to her. She would have actually been in the top three, and I hadn't had the heart to tell her why or to tell Loki why. And then when they finally got it out of me today, Loki just got incredibly quiet and Sigyn got incredibly quiet. And it was that dangerous, incredibly quiet. Needless to say, someone that had been peddling stories in UPGs for years, and there's a difference between us stealing in UPGs and saying, oh, look, he did this, look, he did that, and claiming you know the hidden stories and histories of the gods. Okay, let me make that clear. You can say, I had this experience, but you can't claim it's gospel. We're not here writing the New Testament of Loki. We're just not. Okay, all that said. One of the people who is a self-proclaimed expert on the northern gods has over the years gotten more and more extreme and a little more and more twisted, and I'm not talking about Raven here either. And, they've made a lot of horrible accusations about Loki. And the final accusation they made concerned Loki and Sigyn and directly contradicted what they wrote in their first book to try to make money. And it was also something that you, me, and your cat would kill Loki for. Involves Sigyn, and that's all I'm gonna say. And then Sigyn's like, no wonder you've been avoiding me because you didn't know what to say. And I'm like, I know that's not fucking true. Okay, I know Loki backwards, frontwards, sideways. I know it's not true. Sigyn knows it's not true. Loki knows it's not true. But I said, it just hurt me so fucking much to read that. And I said, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. Well, how the hell am I going to tell you that, your beloved husband has been accused of this? I said, look, he goes through so fucking much on a daily basis. He didn't need this on his plate, too. So, sometimes, like Sigyn, we kind of have to absorb stuff people say about Loki. And at our discretion, we can think of, do I say this to him or don't I? Just as she is catching the venom and holding the bowl over him and protecting him and shielding him as much as she can, sometimes we have to take the blow for Loki and for Sigyn, and even though it hurt me to spend time away from her, and I did, because I was mentally going through my mind and trying to scrub out everything I ever read that this individual ever wrote, and now I think like I'm getting like this, oh, back here from Odin, she was faithful to me all that time, and now she understands. So it kind of tarnished, not poor Sigyn, certainly not poor Loki, but the idea of these cults, that kind of grow around certain people forever and ever and ever, which is why she shouldn't just take anyone's word, mine included. People have very different experiences with Sigyn. Some people experience her, as a mother who has lost her children, as the wife who must, endure day after day after day. And, she is choosing to endure. That's the difference. She is choosing to endure and be faithful to her husband. She could leave. There's nothing binding her there other than her love for Loki, and he knows it. He knows how fucking lucky he is, which is why Loki loves Sigyn more than anybody else, because he knows his sorry ass is very fortunate. I love Loki, but he knows he's fortunate. And the rest of us are fortunate too, because she seems to give us enough time to absorb, the idea of the binding, and, the idea of Loki's suffering and her suffering as well. And she gives us enough time and enough grace to go back and say, wow, maybe I need to burn everything to the ground and start over and try to renew my relationship with them. She's been very good about that. She's been very good about giving me, space and time to think, There are a lot of rituals out there about serving Loki and serving Sigyn together as they're underground. There are a lot of UPGs that will tell you everything from she is a kick-ass Valkyrie, and that is why her name is Sigyn, which is, victory wife, victorious girlfriend, all these different translations. Or, she is just this kind of poor mousy Sigyn, long-suffering wife of this terrible brute. And all of this is UPG. We don't have any evidence, and from the way anyone's seen Loki dote on Sigyn and for how fucking protective he is of her, there's no way he's ever mistreated her. I can't stress that enough. One of Loki's favorite tricks with me is if he thinks I have had too much Sigyn time, he will show up as Sigyn. And pretty soon into the conversation, I can tell, but he will pretend to be Sigyn because he's just giving her that buffer, and he's like, "What do you want now, woman?" And poor Sigyn was hurt because we had a closer relationship, but then when she found out what I was dealing with, she's like, "Oh, you've got your own thing," but she can help you through that. She's worked with, and I believe these women, she's worked with a lot of women who have lost children or are going through, they've gone through, some kind of trauma. She's worked with women like that, and she would work with all genders, and she will work with people that, love Loki. She's definitely not the Marvel character. There's a Marvel character, Sigyn, but she's certainly a determined woman, and she's a determined and faithful wife. I treat any UPGs now with, extreme caution, and I would say just spend time in meditation with her and see, does she want a relationship? Do you want a relationship? What is that going to entail? A common thing to do then is to meditate and like, do they need any kind of offerings? Would they like food? A lot of Lokeans will absolutely give them like as much food as they can put on the altar. Some people will insist on burying it, but some people will say no, you share it because that's your family. You do you. I do have a certain place set up for Sigyn and for Narveen Volley for Sigyn and children. It's like really close to the door, and that way I can see them every day when I go into meditation. I can see their altar and everything. And she's the one that I've been discussing back and forth with, that because this poison, we don't know how far back in the well this poison of this, what this terrible person said, went back in their mind. We've been discussing getting rid of the Loki books because people keep asking me, are there any Loki books you'd recommend? Not really. No. I'm not saying all Lokeans are terrible. Obviously, I don't believe any of this about Loki, and most of you don't either, but you will notice that Loki will attract people that, they're just, a lot of us are the walking wounded, but you need to go get help. That's the thing. I went to get help. This person clearly didn't. So it's, I know that wasn't actually heavily Sigyn, and it's hard because we only have the one line and another attestation, which is kind of like reiteration of the one line of her being with Loki in his binding. We don't have any idea of a home life. We don't have any idea if they had any other children or if both children were hers. We don't even actually know the names of the children. It might be Narfi or Narvi and Volley or not. There may be one child, there may be two. We honestly don't know. Some people don't actually believe in Sigyn. Don't yell at me. Some people think that she was added by later storytellers and that is where Sigyn came from. Then there's the other extreme who believe she was the primordial goddess, if I didn't say this time, and Loki got attached to her because Loki is underground under the hot springs somewhere. So, I know that wasn't exactly joyous. I wanted to do something a lot more lighthearted for her because she's been through enough. But she couldn't understand why I wasn't doing the video, and I wasn't doing the video, and I said, I'm dealing with something, and finally Sigyn will back you into a corner, and she's like, what? And I told her, and she got deathly quiet, and Loki got deathly quiet, because Loki would never do this monstrous, horrible thing he was accused of. And I think that's what it is. She'll have you own your truth, and she'll give you the time and space to work as you need to work alone, because she has told me very lovingly, I hope, you're exactly like him. You're exactly like him. And I'm like, what? Is this a good thing or a bad thing? And she'll just smile. She is very sweet. She can have a sweet, kind, happy, playful aspect to her that, given all she's been through, and all people kind of try to twist and reinvent her goddesshood into. It's amazing that she endures, but she's one of those goddesses that she's been through like the worst things you can go through, and people keep piling stuff up on her and making up all these horrible stories about Loki and Sigyn, and she still has this happier, more positive aspect to her that's, obviously not connected with the suffering aspect. So, I would say just, with her especially, take any UPG with a huge grain of salt. If it makes you feel wrong, if it makes you feel heavy in your heart, and I don't mean like if it makes you feel sad. I mean, if it makes you feel heavy in your heart or it makes you feel like this is wrong, back away from it, run the other way. Loki will not get mad at you if you just explain something's wrong here, I don't like this. Once you make it clear it has nothing to do with Sigyn herself, that you love Sigyn and adore Sigyn, then he'll understand. He is very protective of her. He does want to keep her from being hurt any more than she has. Um, if you work out offerings with her, it's just going to be whatever you guys work out with. I used to bring them more offerings, and I should get back to it. She seems to like wildflowers, and anything, that I offer to the gods, everyone gets a portion of. And she seems to like have fun. She can be very quiet. She can be one of those goddesses that she will come forward from time to time, but she's going to mostly be quiet. She's got her own stuff going on. She's got a lot she's dealing with for whatever reason. So it's a thing where now that they realize what was going through, I think Sigyn and I will be spending a lot of TLC time together. But, I didn't want to make the video right away because I didn't know what to say. And this is YouTube, and how we discuss the crime Loki was accused of. YouTube will be shutting down the channel forever, rightfully so. And it's like, I just fucking needed space and time to get that out of my head, man. I never believed it even from the first moment I read it, but I fucking needed space and time to get that out of my head and to just back the fuck away from all Lokeans. So if there are some days where I seem like I hate Lokeans in general, that's why. I'm sorry, not you people, but you know what I mean. I'm like, who the fuck would serve a god accused of that? Jesus fucking Christ, what the fuck is wrong with you people? So, yay, back here. So Loki's back. Loki's back. Sigyn is a sweetheart. And I would say, it is one of those things where you're going to really question, some people claim they have dealt with, not dealt with, interacted with Norby and Volley, and some people are like, no, of course you can't. And, it's entirely up to you. I'm sorry I can't give you more guidelines, but it seems to be highly individualistic. I would say if somebody's known for being pretty fucking sketchy, don't take their UPGs at all. So we have been discussing, Loki wasn't quite sure why I wanted to get rid of some of the books, and now that he knows, he's just like, oh. So, whether the person wrote it down because they were mentally disturbed, or they wanted attention and they weren't getting as much attention because the Marvel films are over, fucking deal with it. When you serve a god, you serve them when they're not popular too. I don't know. But I do know they erased everything on their website and they're now behind some kind of paywall somewhere else. But, more fucking power to them. I hope they die in a car accident. I mean, what a lovely individual. So, you're back here. Hopefully you two missed that sentence. But, guys, I love Sigyn. I adore her. And I trust her enough, and I feel we had a good enough relationship before I read that bullshit that, things would have came out. So, if you've read any horribly toxic things that just melted your fucking brains out of your head about Loki and Sigyn, it's not true. As to her parentage and everything, I hope I said already, your guess is as good as mine. I don't think it really matters. I think sometimes the gods will play along because they know we just don't fucking know, and they're like, if enough of you accept it, okay, we'll play along. But I don't, in a sense, think it's like the most end-all, be-all important thing for them in the world. Sigyn's usually pretty easygoing, that when she's in a better mood and, she's in that up active happy form, she'll go along with whatever you think her life is like. Like, if you think Njord's her dad, fine, Njord's her dad. If you think he's her stepdad or her adoptive dad, or you think she had a tree for a dad and a rock for a mom. She don't care. So, I hope that helped. I'm really sorry, guys, but that was really upsetting, and I was carrying that for a really long time. And Sigyn was like, "What the hell is wrong with you? Why aren't I getting my video?" And Anger Boda had been like poking at me too, of why the hell wasn't her video coming out? And I'm like, I just didn't know how to fucking deal with, you know, seeing that all the UPG was probably tainted the whole way back. Now what the fuck do I do? So I was tearing everything apart, and when I don't know what to do, I'll avoid something. So I was avoiding Angerboda like the plague, and I was avoiding Sigyn like the plague. So I have two pissed off Nordic goddesses to appease. So I'm sorry, guys. I know that's not happy. I know it's a pretty heavy video, but there are going to be, you know, goddesses that seem to attract people that gotta make stuff up, and it's the worst stuff possible. So if you like what you see, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.